In the far reaches of the Virellian Expanse where constellations twist like runes across the fabric of space there once existed a world called Virella Prime. A nexus of unity, it stood as the shining heart of the Cineris Accord, a coalition of advanced civilizations bonded by peace and shared knowledge. Among its people, humans and crystalline Virellans thrived together, guided by harmony and exploration. But orbiting this world was a mystery far older than any alliance, the Celestial Gate, a colossal ring of unknown origin that pulsed with the energy of forgotten stars. The gate was not built, but found, a relic of the long-lost architects, whose technology defied understanding. Though dormant, it was revered, studied, and feared. For it whispered across the void, hinting at knowledge beyond imagining, and danger beyond reckoning. That danger came in the form of the Varn Dominion, a brutal empire of cybernetic zealots bent on unlocking the gate's forbidden potential. Their assault on Virella Prime was swift and devastating. Shields fell. Cities burned. And within days, the crown jewel of the Accord was lost. Yet, from the ashes rose a reluctant warrior. Captain Kaelen Mira, once a decorated officer who had turned from war, emerged as an unlikely beacon of resistance. Rallying survivors, scientists, and rebels, she waged a desperate campaign against the Dominion, striking from shattered jungles and drowned ocean vaults. As the Varn activated the gate, Kaelen uncovered the terrifying truth: it was not a passage, but a prison, built to contain the Ossyx Concord, entities of entropy capable of consuming galaxies. With the help of her old mentor, the reclusive linguist Dr. Xereth-Kai, and allies who defied orders and fate itself, including the enigmatic Virellan seer Xion and the fierce martial Idris Thorn, Kaelen launched one final assault. Together, they entered the gate, navigating a storm of shattered realities, and confronted the heart of the prison. There, they unleashed the Severance Protocol, collapsing the gate in on itself and sealing the Ossyx beyond reach, at the cost of Kaelen trademark's life. Or so it seemed. The galaxy mourned. Virella Prime became hallowed ground. Statues of Kaelen Mira rose across the stars, her legacy etched into the foundation of a new alliance, the Seal Starry Union. Yet peace is fragile in a cosmos still wounded by war. Whispers began to rise again. Rifts opened where the gate once stood. Ships vanished. Ghost signals echoed, bearing Kaelen's voice, distorted, distant, but undeniably hers. Then came Xereth-Kai, the last Ossyx, a being of unraveling matter, its form cloaked in collapsing dimensions. It emerged from the Severance Rift, not to conquer, but to erase all life, exacting revenge for its ancient imprisonment. Entire systems blinked out. Suns dimmed. The Union stood at the brink of extinction. And then, from the heart of the rift, a light returned. Kaelen Mira had not died, but transcended. Her consciousness had fused with architect technology, reborn as something beyond mortal understanding, the Eidolon of the rift. She returned with a ship made of phase matter and starlight, accompanied by echoes of the past, Idris, reawakened in crystalline form, Xion, now pure quantum being, and a fleet crewed by AI memories of heroes long fallen. Together, they launched the last Accord, a battle across dimensions and fractured realities. While the Union trademark's remaining fleets held the line in real space, Kaelen and her companions journeyed into the rift itself, where time unspooled and logic twisted. In the core of the anomaly, Kaelen confronted Xereth-Kai, not with weapons, but with will. She bound the creature with the very threads of reality, using her own essence to lock the Ossyx away forever. The final act was silent, yet profound. The rift collapsed into a new star, Mira trademark's light, a beacon visible from every world. It shone not as a warning, but as a promise, that even in the face of cosmic annihilation, unity and sacrifice could overcome oblivion. Virella Prime was rebuilt, becoming the seat of the Seal Starry Union and home to the Hall of Concord, where every species pledged to guard the future together. Kaelen Mira trademark's story passed into legend, but her presence endured. Beyond the veil of dimensions, she remains a watcher between worlds, a guardian forged in starlight and silence. In every whispered myth and flickering signal, in every child who dreams of the stars, her legacy lives on. And somewhere, at the edge of what is real and what is possible, the Eidolon waits a eternal, vigilant, and unbroken. In the Virellian Expanse a region of space where nebulae bloom like cosmic flowers and ancient stars whisper through darkened voids there stood a world that embodied the promise of unity, Virella Prime. Here, humans and Virellans, beings of crystalline elegance and harmonic consciousness, lived in peace under the banner of the Cineris Accord a pact of enlightened civilizations sworn to collaboration, understanding, and balance. Virella was more than just a planet, it was a beacon a sanctuary where intellect and spirit were nurtured side by side, where science met the sacred. Suspended above Virella was a mystery older than any species, the Celestial Gate. A colossal ring forged from materials unknown, humming with an energy that rippled through subspace itself. No records existed of who built it. No scans could fully decipher its inner mechanisms. Its simply was. And yet, within its silence, it whispered. To scientists, it offered the thrill of ultimate discovery. To the spiritual, it radiated a gravity of purpose. But to the few who had truly studied it like Dr. Lis Verek, the eccentric linguist who vanished after uncovering forbidden truths it was a warning carved into the cosmos. That warning went unheeded. From beyond the starless edge came the Varn Dominion, a merciless regime of technocratic zealots. Half machine, half faith, they worshipped entropy and sought to harness the GATA trademark's power not for knowledge but for control. Their invasion of Virella Prime was swift and surgical. Planetary shields fell under gravitational warheads. Virellan crystal towers shattered like glass. Biomechanical shock troops descended, tearing through forests and oceans alike, seeking the GATA trademark's core. Caught in the maelstrom was Captain Kaelen Mira, once a decorated tactician of the Accord trademark's vanguard, now a reluctant exile. Haunted by war, she had laid down her command until the fire came back to her home. As the skies burned and the Accord faltered, Kaelen rose. Leading a scattered band of defenders engineers, refugees, Virellan bundsingers, and rogue AI pilots she orchestrated a guerrilla resistance. One such ally was Saren Dax, a gifted pilot with a neural link to a sentient starfighter, another, Corin Havith, a former Dominion defector with blood on his hands and secrets in his mind. Kaelen trademark's resistance became legend. From the ocean vaults of Virella trademark's moon to the twilight jungles of the southern hemisphere, she struck at Dominion supply lines, unraveling their advance. But the GATA it began to awaken. Not through Accord science, but Dominion corruption. Strange energies pulsed outward. The stars around Virella began to flicker. Creatures emerged twisted echoes of life from other realms. And in her darkest hour, Kaelen realized the truth, the gate was never a gateway. It was a lock a cage built by the architects, a race so ancient their ruins warped time itself. The gate had been sealing away the Ossyx Concord entities of pure entropy that had once devoured star clusters and unmade civilizations. Now, the Dominion, in their blind zeal, had begun to open the cage. Desperate, Kaelen sent a signal into the void. A last cry to any who still remembered Virella, who still believed in the Accord trademark's promise. And against all odds, heroes answered. Marshal Idris Thorne, commander of the Cineris Blackguard, defied orders and led a rogue fleet into the fray. Shion, the Virellan luminary once thought to have transcended into higher dimensions, returned not in body, but as a being of pure resonance, capable of interfacing directly with the GATA trademark's mechanisms. Dr. Verek, once lost to madness, was found alive in the GATA trademark's temporal field, warning of the creature that slept within. Together, they launched one last assault the Severance operation. While the Union fleets battled in orbit against Dominion dreadnoughts mutated by exposure to the GATA Euro trademark S energies, Kaelen and her strike team entered the heart of the construct. What they found was not a mechanism, but a mind a Euro, the gate itself, semi-aware, a remnant of architect will. And it was cracking. Within the GATA Euro trademark S anomaly chamber, they faced the herald of the Ossyx, Xereth-Kai, a creature of imploding gravity, its voice a choir of dying stars. The battle was not only physical, but metaphysical. The team fought within collapsing dimensions, through shifting realities where past and future blurred. They enacted the Severance Protocol, detonating architect failsafes that folded the anomaly back in on itself. Kaelen Mira was caught in the implosion. She vanished, and the gate with her. The war was over. The Dominion shattered. Virella Prime, a scarred but surviving world, became the seat of a new power, the Seal Stara Union a Euro, a gathering of all species who had endured the fire. Kaelen was mourned. Her story told in every school, sung by every Virellian harmony choir, and remembered in the stars themselves. But peace is never permanent. Not long after the gate's collapse, anomalies returned. Ships vanished near the rift. Distorted voices bled through secure channels a Euro, voices that sounded a Euro like Kaelen. Then, the sky broke. The rift reopened. From it came Xereth-Kai reborn, last remnant of the Ossyx Concord, now fully unleashed. Its goal was not conquest a Euro but unmaking. Galaxies were nothing to it. Its purpose was oblivion. Entire systems collapsed. Space bent and screamed. And just as the Seal Stara Union prepared for extinction, the stars lit again. From the heart of the Severance Rift emerged a ship made of light, silence, and memory. At its helm, Kaelen Mira a Euro, no longer mortal, but Eidolon of the Rift. Her consciousness had merged with architect tech, making her a being that could bend time and phase through dimensions. She had become the gate itself a Euro, its final guardian. At her side, Idris, reawakened through Virellian crystal memory, Shion, now ascended into quantum essence, Saren Dax, piloting a vessel that echoed across probability, and Korin Havith, wearing a suit forged from collapsed realities. They launched the last Accord a Euro, a war not fought in space, but in the folds between. Kaelen led her team through the breach, into Xereth-Kai a Euro trademark S domain, where reality broke like glass. There, in a moment that defied time, she faced the creature a Euro not as a warrior, but as a soul tethered to the truth of existence. She bounded within a prison of collapsing possibility, using the last remnants of architect power. But the cost was final. Kaelen became the seal. Her essence fused with the rift, locking the Ossyx away for eternity. Anthena Euro silence. When it was over, a new star burned in the sky. Astronomers would call it a quantum anomaly. The Union called it something else. Mira Euro trademark S light. From every world, people looked up to that star and remembered. They remembered the fall of Virella. The burning skies. The voice that called across time. The captain who became something more. Kaelen Mira was no longer a soldier, nor a symbol. She was the soul of the galaxy a Euro, watching, guarding, from the edge of what can be known. And in the silence between stars, in the dark where the Ossyx once stirred, she waits. Not as a legend, but as a promise. In a galaxy carved by starlight and shadow, where the echoes of ancient civilizations hum beneath the silence of space, the world of Virella Prime stood as a beacon a Euro, a testament to what unity could achieve. Among coral-like Virellian spires and floating human cities, the impossible was made common. Science thrived alongside spiritual harmony. The Cinerus Accord, an interstellar pact of peace and purpose, made Virella its jewel a Euro, a shared home for thinkers, dreamers, builders, and protectors. Suspended above it all was the celestial gate a Euro, a relic older than time, predating even the earliest stellar cartography. A vast ring of unknown metal, etched with runes that shimmered and changed as though alive. It was not a weapon, nor a machine in any conventional sense. It existed as if space itself bowed to it. For centuries, scientists and sages studied its frequencies. But only a few like Dr. Lis Verek, an architect-linguist obsessed with forbidden knowledge dared suggest that the gate was not a tool but a warning. Then the stars darkened. From beyond the spiral arms came the Varn Dominion cybernetic zealots forged in the crucible of entropy. Their creed was purity through control, order through obliteration. They had heard the whispers of the gate and believed it to be the key to dominion over all realities. Their warships moved like shadows across the cosmos, bending gravity and tearing through planets with weapons that sang in anti-harmonics. Virella Prime became ground zero for their invasion. But they did not expect Captain Kaelen Mira. A warforged strategist who had once turned her back on the Accorda trademark's military hierarchy. Kaelen had left command after sacrificing half her fleet to save a colony from annihilation. Branded a hero and a traitor, she vanished into exile. But when Virella burned, she returned. Hardened. Focused. Unafraid. Kaelen united the broken. Among her inner circle was Saren Dax, a fearless fighter pilot born on a drifting ice world. Serena trademark's mind was fused with a sentient fighter-class vessel called Whisper, an AI capable of predicting enemy movement seconds into the future. In battle, Saren became poetry in motion, diving through death to protect the innocent. Her courage was matched only by her defiance. Alongside them stood Corin Havith, a former Dominion engineer who betrayed his own species to join the resistance. Racked with guilt, Corin built weapons from scrap, hacked enemy systems from memory, and faced hatred from both sides. But in Kaelen, he found redemption and something to believe in. And then there was Thane Rivik a towering Umbrakar warrior whose species had once been slaves to the Ossyx Concord. Sworn never to bow again, Rivik carried a battle axe made from collapsed neutronium, his voice deep as thunder and his heart loyal beyond question. In the face of impossible odds, he was the shield that would not break. But the key to survival lay in an ally beyond understanding, Xion, a Virellian luminary who had transcended physical form. Once a philosopher queen, now a being of pure harmonic energy, Xion could interface with the gate directly. Her knowledge of architect language and memory-binding rituals became essential for she alone could interpret the Gata trademark's final lock. Together, they formed the Riftborn a unit sworn not to fight for power, but to defend existence itself. As the Dominion activated the gate, time began to fracture. Beasts of broken reality clawed into the world. The stars above Virella pulsed with unfamiliar rhythms. The Ossyx Concord entities of entropy and unraveling thought stirred in their prison beyond space. In a desperate gambit, Kaelen led the Riftborn into the heart of the gate. Inside, they found Xereth-Kai, the Ossyx Prime not a creature, but a force chaos given form. Its voice bent light. Its breath shattered probability. And yet, the team held fast. Rivik struck its limbs with star steel. Saren and Whisper dodged interdimensional bursts to blind its senses. Corin reprogrammed failing architect systems mid-battle. And Xion, singing a song in a language no longer spoken, began the seal. In the final moments, Kaelen faced Xereth-Kai alone. She activated the Severance Protocol, a mechanism designed not to destroy the gate, but to fold it inward to seal the rift permanently using a living anchor. That anchor was her. She gave her life not to win but to end the war for good. The gate imploded. The Dominion fleet shattered. Kaelen Mira captain, tactician, protector was gone. Or so the galaxy believed. Years passed. Virella Prime was rebuilt from ruins, now the capital of the Seal Stara Union, a civilization forged in loss and unity. Statues of the Riftborn stood in plazas of crystal and flame. Xion drifted between dimensions, a guardian spirit. Rivik led the Hall of Blades, training defenders from every world. Saren Dax flew patrols along the anomaly borders, always listening Ga for her. And one day, she heard her. Kaelen trademark S voice no longer bound to flesh returned through the rift, encoded in architect frequencies. She had become something else. A sentinel. A soul of starlight bound to the breach. When the rift reopened, and Xereth-Kai returned more powerful than before, the galaxy was not unprepared. The last accord was formed. And the Eidolon of the rift returned. Kaelen led one final charge, this time not in body, but as light. She commanded a vessel made of memory and quantum fire, wielding time as a weapon. With her stood the Riftborn warriors once broken, now eternal. They faced Xereth-Kai in the fold between universes. And when the last strike fell, when the Ossyx screamed into the dark, Kaelen locked the prison from the inside. A new star was born that day. Mira trademark S light, they call it. A reminder that bravery is not measured by strength alone but by the willingness to stand, even when standing means sacrifice. Across the galaxy, stories of Kaelen Mira and the brave souls who followed her are told not as legends but as truth. As hope. As the proof that light, no matter how faint, will always fight to return. And somewhere, beyond the veil, the Eidolon watches still the captain who faced oblivion and stood unshaken. Beneath the swirling arms of the Virellian Expanse, where galaxies gleam like tears of gods long dead, a miracle once floated in the void Virella Prime. It was not just a world but a symphony of life, oceans that sang in harmonic resonance, floating citadels powered by sun-threaded crystal, forests grown from both root and code. Here, humanity and the crystalline Virellans built a home shaped not by conquest, but collaboration a triumph of unity beneath stars that had seen too much war. High above the planeta trademark S surface hung the celestial gate a relic of impossible architecture, pulsing with unreadable frequencies and haloed in auroras that shimmered like memory itself. It defied science and whispered to dreams. Some called it a key to the infinite. Others, a locked tomb. The truth had been buried with the architects the civilization that had vanished before even time dared begin. But truth has a way of rising. From the silence of forgotten starways came a storm. The Varn Dominion a coalition of cybernetic zealots twisted by entropy and doctrine arrived not as conquerors, but as executioners. Their fleets moved like a plague across space, burning down resistance with surgical cruelty. They did not seek Virella trademark S wealth or territory. They wanted the gate. And they came with a purpose, to unlock what should never be touched. In the fires of that first assault, the Cinerus Accord faltered. Protocols failed. Command crumbled. But not all hope was lost. From exile returned Captain Kaelen Mira, once disgraced for choosing lives over orders. Her record was buried beneath shame and silence, but her name still sparked loyalty in those who had bled beside her. She gathered the scattered the forgotten, the broken, the bold and made from them a spear point. No command titles. No rank. Only purpose. By her side flew Saren Dax, ace pilot bonded to a semi-sentient vessel born of Virellian neurocore technology. Serena trademark S past was one of wreckage a survivor of a moonfall event, the sole child plucked from frozen rubble. Her courage was not loud, but absolute, her silence sharper than steel. Her bond with her ship, Whisper, made her deadly, her bond with Kaelen made her unshakable. Below them worked Corin Havith, a former Varn systems architect who turned his back on genocide after witnessing the horrors he helped enable. Haunted by what his hands once built, he now built salvation weapons of defense, countermeasures laced with mercy. He was a man who measured worth not in victories, but in lives spared. Shadows moved beside them one in particular, silent and unknowable. Masked in a skin of refractive starlight, the operative known only as Xereth was neither Virellan nor human. Their origin remained classified even within the Accorda Euro trademark's highest echelons. Xereth spoke rarely, but every word bent strategy like gravity. It was said that when Xereth closed their eyes, they saw probability like a map Euro, and when they opened them, things changed. Their cause was made stronger still by Thainravik, the Umbrakar behemoth who carried the weight of a people nearly erased. His weapon, a warhammer carved from collapsed matter, was heavy with vengeance Euro, yet his gaze held wisdom. To him, survival was not enough. There had to be justice. He stood not to kill, but to shield. And then there was Xion Euro, the luminary of the Virellans, who had become something far beyond flesh. Xion moved like thought through matter, her presence felt more than seen. She was memory woven into light, a being who remembered when the gate first sang, and when it first screamed. She understood what none else could: the gate was not a door, but a seal. Together, these individuals Euro, scattered by fate, bound by choice Euro, became the Riftborn. As the Dominion activated the gate, time itself rippled. Rifts bled open. Reality groaned. Through these wounds emerged beings of pure entropy Euro, tendrils of the ancient Ossyx Concord. These were not monsters. They were concepts made terrible: hunger without form, silence that consumed sound, light that forgot how to shine. And leading them was Xereth-Kai Euro, last remnant of Ossyx intelligence, born from the ashes of devoured galaxies. Its mind stretched across dimensions. Its voice was made of endings. Virella Prime burned again. But this time, the galaxy was not unprepared. A final strike was launched Euro, not to reclaim territory, but to seal fate. The Riftborn entered the gate, not knowing if they would return. Inside was not space, but a bleeding wound in time Euro, a place where past and future merged, where the air whispered names not yet born. And at the core of this chaos, Kaelen confronted Xereth-Kai, not with rage, but with resolve. To end the Ossyx was to become the lock. The seal could not be automated. It needed a living mind. A soul willing to remain between realities. And Kaelen Mira made that choice. She did not fall. She rose Euro into light, into myth, into memory eternal. The gate collapsed inwards. The Dominion shattered. The Ossyx screamed and were silent. In the aftermath, a new star bloomed in the void. Mira Euro trademark's light, they named it. And from that day, peace was not assumed Euro, it was protected. The Seal Stara Union was born not from treaties, but from sacrifice. Children now learn of the Riftborn not as legends, but as history. On the steps of the Hall of Concord, stories are told of bravery, of love, of resolve, of unity forged in fire. And in the quiet of deep space, some still swear they hear a voice Euro, not from the past, but the edge of all things. Euro, I am the gate. I am the guardian. I am the light Euro. Kaelen Mira still watches. And should the darkness return, so too will she. In the wake of Mira Euro trademark's light, the galaxy paused Euro, not in silence, but in reverence. Across every world touched by the Seal Stara Union, bells rang not in mourning, but in honor. The sacrifice of Captain Kaelen Mira and the Riftborn carved a new destiny Euro, not etched in stone or law, but in the hearts of those who had once been divided. The Celestial Gate, long misunderstood as a pathway to power, was revealed at last to be what it truly was: a prison, a warning, and finally a grave. And yet, from that grave rose something greater. Virella Prime was rebuilt as the cradle of a new age. It became a beacon of learning, diplomacy, and remembrance. Pilgrims came from far worlds to lay their hands upon the pillars of the Hall of Concord, where the names of the Riftborn shimmer eternally in Virellan crystal, unassailable by time. Children grew up learning not just of the war, but of the choice Euro, the choice to protect what could never be replaced, life itself. Saren Dax, now Admiral of the Rift Fleet, patrolled the star lanes with Whisper Euro, not as a weapon of war, but a keeper of peace. Corin Havith turned his talents to healing, creating living machines that could mend planets torn by conflict. Thane Ravik returned to the Umbrakar, leading his people into a golden age forged not in vengeance, but in hope. Xion, now ascended beyond form, became the Union A Euro trademark S silent oracle A Euro, her thoughts guiding exploration, discovery, and unity. And far beyond them all, in the rift where time folds and stars dream, there lingers a presence. No longer wholly human, no longer bound by flesh, Kaelen Mira watches from the edge of existence. Her form is starlight. Her voice is memory. Her soul is the seal that holds the dark at bay. She is not gone. She is transformed a Euro not into myth, but meaning. Across the galaxy, whenever hope begins to dim or unity starts to fray, the light of a single star glows brighter. Mira Euro trademark S light a Euro, a reminder that courage is eternal, sacrifice is sacred, and guardians still walk the stars. Because peace is not a resting place. It is a promise. And some promises are never broken.